What up, Z-Pack? It's your boy Z-Dog MD coming on that LTE because I'm in Casa de Z-Dad and Z-Mom in Clovis, California, and that Wi-Fi is whack-fi. You know what I mean? I mean, like 0 bits per whatever. So hopefully this is streaming okay. I am broadcasting live. You can hear Z-Pup, maybe hear Z-Pup doing her violin down the hall there with Mrs. Dog. My parents are chilling. I am in my childhood room. So I lived in this here room from age 8 when we moved from New Jersey to Clovis until 18 when I went off to college at Berkeley. And it has changed a bit. For example, there's an even whacker painting on the wall. My daughter, Z-Pup, the oldest, is sleeping in my old bed with a new comforter and a ton of stuffed animals, which I believe may well be mine. My dad has put his computer stuff here, which is my hand-me-down Mac. That's my little iPad. And this is where I spent many a surly teenage moment going, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with my life, and no girls like me, and why am I so bald? And I was 16, so it gets hard, people. Anyways, I wanted to come at you today. I wasn't going to do a show. I went swimming in my parents' ridiculously oversized 1980s era pool that is entirely water inefficient. And then I dug through my dad's liquor cabinet and found this, which, if you know Indian men, you know is the apex of Indian male alcohol consumption, which is Johnny Walker Blue. So I think my brother gave him a bottle of Blue for some special occasion, and of course my dad's like, why would I waste my money on Blue? I can drink perfectly good red. There's no difference. It doesn't taste any different. So why am I going to... I'll just put the bottle here. It's been sitting there for like 15 years. So I was like, I'm going to break into this bottle right now because I'm Z-Dog MD and I've earned some Blue. I haven't, but that was the argument that I gave myself. And then I was looking through the news and my Facebook messages from y'all and the different articles that were sent and different stories that have been going on. And I realized, we got to talk about this because there's a lot of tragedy involving frontline medical professionals, and in the spirit of our hashtag silentnomore, I figured, why be silent about this? Let's honor the losses that have been suffered, and let's talk about and see how we can prevent these sort of tragedies from happening in the future. So the first article I wanted to talk about, let's read a couple comments while we're doing that. David Walpert, maybe I'll break into some whiskey. I've had a bottle for a year. That's the thing. It seems to only get better. I mean, smooth. Isn't that what Mr. Furley used to say? Sorry, Liz, I know it's late. I just decided I had to do a show because I was going to skip it today. Otherwise, I would have done it at the usual 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 Eastern. Okay, the first article, and unfortunately, I just happened to pull up the New York Post. Forgive me, I'm a tabloid junkie, all right? This is the title. Pissed off patient throws scalding tea in nurse's face. It's a wonderful story. So Wyckoff Heights, I don't know how to say it, Medical Center in Queens. Actually, this is in Brooklyn. So a 19-year-old Queens woman is in hot water after she became so angry Friday at a Brooklyn hospital nurse she threw scalding tea in the healthcare worker's face. Police said. Mildred Alvarez of Ridgewood, by the way, I lived in Ridgewood, New Jersey for several years as a child, was with her mother at Wyckoff Heights Medical Center, where the woman was seeking treatment for an unknown medical condition, according to authorities. And I'm going to guess that medical condition is being a super freaking bitch. Alvarez, oh, come on, what happened to my article? I accidentally, there it is. I accidentally touched some button that made it go away. Darn these iPads. Alvarez was unhappy with the care her mother received. Okay, so this is a family member of a patient. Threw a cup of hot tea on the face of an unnamed nurse, causing pain and blisters on the nurse's forehead, cops said. By the way, any press article that uses the term cops is probably not real press. But I'll buy this fake news. Hey, sweetie. What's up?
Why are you in here?
I'm in here because I'm doing a live cast.
Well, it's time for bed.
Yeah, can I finish my live cast though?
I'm hitting you.
This is my room, you know. I was raised here. You're
What's
just
that?
a visitor, huh?
Is that scotch?
It's Johnny Walker Blue. Blended scotch, not single malt.
It smells.
Yeah, you should never drink it. Are you having fun, by the way?
Yeah.
Is Nai basically spoiling you rotten?
Yeah.
Nai is Chinese for paternal grandmother. Okay, anyway, so Ridgewood, unhappy with the care through this T. The incident happened around 9:30 a.m. according to police. The nurse was treated on site at Wyckoff, and Alvarez was charged, get it, with felony assault. Yes. All right. So what can we learn from this? This patient's family was a total jerk. Potentially threw hot liquid on this nurse's faces, which could have blinded her, otherwise seriously injured her. Instead, she was just moderately injured. This is not an isolated incident, so we see this kind of thing happen all the time from angry family. We hear threats of this kind of thing happening. If you don't take care of my loved one, I'm going to come back and you'll see, etc., etc. Is that a hamster?
She smells the scotch.
She smells the scotch. Your hamster's a drunk. Let me see this. There it is. Hamulus. What's her name? Hamma?
Hammy.
Hamma the Mighty. All right. Take your rodent and have fun and be... Hey, you. No, you can't have the scotch. All right, out. I'm trying to talk to like 500 people. Seriously.
Miami.
Look at your fingers. Wash your hands.
It's just paint.
Can you close the door? I feel like...
See ya.
I feel like Kip in Napoleon Dynamite. Napoleon, I've been chatting with babes all day online. What have you been doing? Anyways, so... Z Hamster, says Lisa Yoakum. Okay, so anyways, this case, this Alvarez woman, Mildred, and she is innocent until proven guilty, is guilty of being a horrible human being. And I know she was emotional, and I know she was stressed, and God knows what drugs she was on, because I'm just assuming, because so much violence against healthcare professionals now is driven by drug-related stuff, as we recently saw in Las Vegas with a shooting that happened at a pain clinic and other places. This is unexcusable, and she should go to jail for a long time, period. That's what I think. I'm glad she's charged with felony assault, because I don't know what the rules are in New York. In some states, assaulting a healthcare worker is a felony. But I think she should be charged with attempted murder and go to jail forever. But that's just me, because unfortunately that will lead to dispo problems for her poor mother, who is an innocent bystander in all of this, and will probably need someone to flush her PICC line at home and whatever else home care that she needs. I'm making all this stuff up, and no, I'm not violating HIPAA because I know nothing about this case. If you know something about this case firsthand, please message me privately and tell me what I can and can't share, because I'd love to share this story in the tradition of Silent No More. We need to talk about these things, or else they will continue to happen, because it's in our culture to sweep it under the rug. One interesting thing, there's a guy, Dyke Drummond, who does a lot. He's a physician. He does a lot of work with burnout physicians. And I saw a little video clip of his, and he had an interesting point. We train for so long in medicine. It doesn't matter what subspecialty you're in, or whether you're a nurse or a doctor or an RT or whatever. We are heavily conditioned by our training, because it's years of study. And part of our conditioning is to suck it up when bad things happen to us. And this, in the case of violence against healthcare providers, sucking it up is not an option. It continues to allow this bullying and horrible behavior to continue, so we need to stop it. So that are my thoughts, and I think the Z-Pack's wishes go out to the unnamed nurse who had tea thrown on her by this horrible alleged suspect who is likely guilty. All right. That being said, the next article I wanted to talk about is something that hit a little close to home for me. And that is, and thank you, Gail, Gail Cardoza says, terrible I feel for this RN. Missy Ogborn Kinsler says, every state, it should be a felony. It's sickening that it's not. This is true. And even where it is a felony, it's not always prosecuted by the prosecutors, probably due to resources. What about, and this culture of sweep it under the rug, and administrators not wanting to push it. What about medical professionals that attack and abuse their patients' charity trial? Well, there should be an even more severe penalty for that, because that's a violation of trust. and also professional ethics. And there's a code of silence that sometimes exists in that space, and we'll do shows about that too, because this is a sort of disrespect and violence that cuts both ways. There was a guy, David Newman. He was a famous emergency department doc, very well known for his teaching, for his sort of rants against the pharmaceutical industry, for other things like that. He's a much beloved teacher and mentor. Turns out he was secretly sexually abusing his patients in the emergency department, and it came out, and he pretty much confessed to it, more or less, and he, I believe, is in prison. And thank you. And it's really dramatic how people who work very closely with him, I was talking to a lot of people, Dr. Joe Lex, among others, who are just luminaries in the field of emergency medicine, when they learned that this was actually true, they gave him the benefit of the doubt, and they let him plead his case and all that, but when they learned that it was actually true, they very, very, very quickly and decisively closed the book on this guy. And when it works well, our peer justice system works in tandem with the criminal justice system to keep rogue caregivers in check. Of course, it doesn't always work, and of course, there's a culture of silence to some degree, but when it works really well. And so we can't, Charity, we can't tolerate violence or abuse in either direction. All right, the next story is about, and its title's from the Washington Post, America's Got Talent pays tribute to contestant with a, quote, stunning voice who died in a car crash. Now, I want to, before I talk about this guy, he was a young doctor, trained in osteopathic medicine in Philadelphia, was doing his, I think, the first year of a family medicine residency. And someone a long time ago had sent me a viral clip of his singing a Boys to Men tune on YouTube and said, look, you've got competition. This kid can really sing. And I'm like, oh, dude, if I had a nickel for every time someone sent me a clip going, you've got competition, and I watched it and I was like, I guess I'm still safe because this is whack, I would have a dime. But this one, the minute I clicked it, I was like, oh my gosh, this kid can sing. Like, he is so talented, like beyond talented. Like, he's professionally talented, right? So it turns out Brandon Rodgers, that was the kid, he was 29, all right? He did audition for America's Got Talent, but it didn't air yet. And I want to tell you guys a quick story that I've told you before. I auditioned for America's Got Talent because, and again, I'm just trying to connect this story to my own experience, tell you why it resonates with me, and then I'm going to get into his story because it's very important. So a producer called me up and was like, oh, we saw your stuff online. We'd love you to come audition for the show. So I got a cut-in-line pass at the Vegas auditions for America's Got Talent a couple years back and got to stand in front of the producer and do Ain't the Way to Die and the rap section from my CPR rap, Clear. And the guy was laughing and clapping, and he's like, we'll call you, and they never did. So no talent. America's Got no talent. Now, when I heard about this kid, I was like, wow, this kid's got talent. Like, he's going places. Turns out he went to America's Got Talent, auditioned, and it was supposed to air later, but this is what happened. He was tragically killed. He was the passenger in the front seat of a car driven by a friend or colleague, and it was early morning hours, I think, and the colleague fell asleep. The car crashed into a tree, and Brandon was killed, died the next day. And I hear rumors, and I don't know if this is true, that's why I'm reluctant even to repeat it, but there was some thought that the driver had come off a long shift and was tired. So if that's true, and that's a big if, it makes this case even more tragic because it's preventable. And another cultural thing in medicine is that we say suck it up to being tired. We've come off call, we've come off a long shift, we go home, we drive, we're maybe not safe. How many people have done that, right? We had a resident in my program who wrapped his car around a tree. He got away with a broken leg, but he could have been killed. Same thing coming off a night flow shift, super tired. We've all had those close calls in medicine, driving home tired. So this is a cultural piece that needs to change. So Brandon, if you get a chance, watch. So they released his audition as a tribute to him. It was amazing. Like, this kid, apart from always wanting to be a doctor according to his family and going into it for all the right reasons, he just had a tremendous talent. And you could just tell watching him sing that this kid had a huge future. So our hearts again and our thoughts go out to Brandon's family and friends and colleagues, and to everybody who suffered from this culture of medicine where we're just allowed and encouraged to be tired all the time. Let's read some comments and I'll go to the third article. So Whitney Price says, I pull over and sleep even if I'm only 5 miles from home. I've slept 45 minutes that way after a night shift. Whitney, I've done that. I've pulled over literally on the side of the road like a mile from my house just because I just don't think I'm going to make it safely to my house. This was back when I was taking call all the, like Q4. Angela Yancey fell asleep at a stop sign. Michelle Engel says, supervisors mandated double shift coming off night shift is one of the worst kind of tired. I agree. Let's go to before I read more, I'm going to go to an ad because I'm trying to generate a consistent stream of diversified revenue for the show. This is our main source of revenue. I need to pay Logan and Tom and all the new equipment we bought. So when we get back, hi, sweetie. And we got girls trying to steal my scotch. So watch this ad. Please come back. We're going to talk about the third article. I'm going to read more of your comments. Okay. So if you get an ad, let me know what it is. We're back, guys. All right. Liliana Cook, my family calls each other when they're post-call or off rounds, and it's been a long day. We make sure the other gets home alert. That's fantastic. Thanks for sitting through the ad, by the way. It really helps us out. Jean Shaw, one of our labor RNs had to stay late for call, was killed in a car accident on the way home. She also fell asleep, leaving a husband and very small child, Jean Shaw. I think we all know stories like this, Jean. I'm really sorry for your loss. So, again, Silent No More, part of the goal of the show here, and I consider this informal thing part of the show, is to raise awareness of these issues in healthcare and keep talking about them, try to change them, because Health 3.0 has no room for this kind of culture. All right, the third article is one that I don't really know what to say about, but I want to talk about anyways. Again, New York Post, because I like those tabloids. Red Cross director family found dead in murder-suicide. Now, this happened in my backyard in Las Vegas. And you can see the guy here with his girlfriend. That's the doctor, and that is his girlfriend. And so you know, this guy was a pathologist, did a fellowship, I think, in blood bank, and was the medical director for the Western Regional Red Cross in the U.S. His name is Dr. John Henry Lunetta. Now, his girlfriend is Karen Michelle Jackson. Now, what had happened was, family or friends noticed they were missing, called the cops to check on the house. Cops showed up, found everybody dead. And what it looked like is that Dr. Lunetta had shot the girlfriend, his almost 1-year-old baby boy, right, who on his Facebook page, it's nothing but pictures of this boy and him, and the dog. So he murdered the entire family and then he killed himself. Now, where do you even start processing something like this? We hear these stories all the time when it happens to a doctor and a nurse practitioner. She had just finished her certification for family nurse practitioner. So she had a bright future ahead of her. You just try to figure out what happened. Was there a mental illness thing? Was it burnout? Did something snap? Was he just an asshole? We can't know, right? So it's a lot of speculation, which is one reason I didn't really want to talk about this. But I think I'm going to speculate a bit, not so much about this, but about different reasons why something like this could happen. So here's a guy, apparently an Air Force veteran, kills his wife and baby son and family dog in my hood in Vegas. Neighbors said they called the police and found Lunetta, 40, and his wife, 35, and their baby. The home had been eerily quiet over the weekend. Now, what had happened was apparently the neighbors had noticed that they were arguing quite a bit, and that the girlfriend's daughter had sort of said that this guy was rather controlling, and they were arguing, and there was some speculation because they saw a moving van over the weekend that she was trying to move out, and that may have caused them to snap. Who knows, right? The bottom line is there's clearly something wrong with this doctor, that he would do this. And so Metro Police confirmed it was a murder-suicide, occurred at least a day before they were summoned to the scene. And the Review Journal said that Jackson just passed her certification test to become a nurse practitioner. The baby's first birthday would have been Wednesday. The neighbors all couldn't believe it. And, you know, the concern, let me see, there were still nursing textbooks in the back seat of her car next to the baby's car seat. They purchased the home, it looks like, in 2013. Community members said he had a reputation for being a ladies' man before Jackson, his girlfriend, moved in a year and a half ago. The LinkedIn profile and local news reports say he's a medical director for American Red Cross, and neighbors said he was an Air Force veteran. So, I don't know what happened here. All I know, was there a PTSD component? Was there a mental illness component? Were some signs missed? Was this just a very bad case of a very bad person? I don't know. Jan Trim says she saw an article saying it was a custody issue. I read that too. I'm just not sure, and I think we're speculating. I'm not sure it's fair to his family or their family to speculate yet, but I think it's fair to us to try to process what happens and try to explain a kind of differential diagnosis for why something horrible like this could occur. Sarah Wood says, my elephant is pawing the ground and seeing red right now. I like your terminology, Sarah. So our elephant is our unconscious, emotional, intuitive, reactive engine that makes decisions for us. And believe me, mine was stomping when I read this article. Controlling people are most likely to hurt their partners when they try to leave. That's why the I'd never stay with a man who hit me rhetoric is so dangerous. Erica Christine, I hear you. And we'll definitely be talking more about this. We had Dr. Wanda Filer on the show, the president or former president, now board member of the American Academy of Family Physicians. And one of her specialties is domestic violence and home violence and sexual violence. And so we might try to have her back on the show after Moore's learned about this so we can talk about this this case with an expert. All right. So on that note, I think my family's itching to try to go to bed here, and this is now my daughter's room, as it was mine of old. So I got to show you this room before we go, though. Actually, take a sip of the Johnny Walker. That's good. Blue is pretty good, man. I got to say, my dad's been ignoring it at his peril. All right. So this is where I grew up. This crappy furniture, which I love because I grew up with it. And look at this. The skateboard trucks sticker, okay, from the bad skateboarder in high school. That would be me. Some random trophy hiding back there. My kids' stuffed animals. I say my kids because I will deny owning these stuffed animals for myself. Lots of different pictures. There's Z-Pup, the oldest, when she was born. And let's see what we got here. Me and Mrs. Dog, back when I had hair. Me graduating from college. Yeah, college. My parents keep little knickknacks from different talks that I give. There's a Stanford Health VIP pass. And they keep my little mugs. And there's my class of 91 high school thing, and here it is, guys. Get ready, because this is where it gets super real. Wow. Those are the high school graduation glamour shots. Look at that guy right there. I look like I was destined for jail. 1991. There's the guitar. Okay, yes. Yes. They put it in the green screen background. Nothing has changed, guys. I still have that guitar. You guys recognize it? And look at that. JCPenney's polyester suit with the mullet. Yes, the mullet. There it is. That's a mullet. That's proof. Proof positive that people can change. All right, guys. It's been too legit. Welcome to my real home where I was raised. I like to share it with you. Silent No More. Let's pay our respects to people who've lost their lives, and also everyone who's been hurt, and this nurse who had tea thrown on her face. You're not alone. There are others suffering too, and we will not be silent about it. Hit share, hit like. I'm going to end with another ad so we can generate a little revenue for Logan's Diaper Money. So sit through it, please, before you sign off, and share this. I love y'all. I'll see you soon. We're going to be next up one more day here and then the Bay Area. So it's going to get real. Peace.